The human skin, our body's largest organ, is much more than a mere protective layer. It serves as a habitat for a vast number of microorganisms, including bacteria, fungi, viruses, and even mites. These microorganisms form what is known as the skin microbiome, a living ecosystem that is often overlooked because of its microscopic nature. However, the reality of these organisms living on your skin can be quite unsettling. In fact, the number of life forms living on an average human's skin vastly outnumbers the population of humans on Earth. At any given moment, your skin is covered with hundreds of thousands of microorganisms per square inch. In total, trillions of microbes inhabit this environment, with estimates suggesting that there are more than 1,000 different species of bacteria alone. While these figures may sound alarming, most of these microorganisms are harmless, and many are actually beneficial. They help maintain skin health, protect against harmful pathogens, and even contribute to our immune system's function. But the sheer number and constant presence of these organisms can be difficult to comprehend and, to some, can evoke a sense of discomfort or even dread. One of the most eerie inhabitants of our skin is the Demodex miti. These microscopic creatures live in the hair follicles and sebaceous glands of almost every adult human, particularly on the face. What makes Demodex mites creepy is not just their presence, but the fact that they live out their entire lives burrowed deep within the follicles, feeding on the oils, sebum, that our skin naturally produces. These mites are typically around 0.3 to 0.4 millimeters long and are nearly impossible to see without the help of a microscope. But they are there, silently existing on your face, usually around the nose, cheeks, chin, and eyebrows. Even more disturbing is the life cycle of Demodex mites. During the day, they remain deep inside the hair follicles, escaping detection. However, at night, they crawl out of the follicles and move across the surface of the skin to mate. Their nocturnal activity is completely unnoticed by the host, and after mating, the female mites return to the follicles to lay their eggs. Once the eggs hatch, the cycle continues. Though these mites are typically harmless and do not cause noticeable symptoms in most people, their presence can still be unsettling. It's as if we carry a hidden ecosystem of creatures living on our faces, moving around while we sleep. Aside from mites, the bacterial population on our skin is staggering. While many people think of bacteria as harmful, most of the bacteria living on the skin are either beneficial or neutral. They form a crucial part of the skin's defense system by occupying space and resources that would otherwise be available to harmful pathogens. By maintaining this balance, these bacteria prevent infections and support healthy skin function. For example, certain bacteria produce antimicrobial peptides that protect the skin from harmful microbes. Other bacteria help regulate the skin's pH balance, which is essential for its overall health. However, despite their benefits, the concept of being covered in bacteria can be unsettling. Imagine that after washing your hands or taking a shower, millions of microorganisms remain on your skin, thriving in the microscopic folds and crevices that soap and water cannot reach. Even in the most hygienic conditions, these microorganisms are always present, making their home on your body. The resilience of the skin microbiome is remarkable. Even after thorough cleaning, most of the bacteria and other microorganisms remain intact because they live in the deeper layers of the skin, such as the pores and hair follicles. This microbial community is incredibly stable, continuously regenerating and adapting to environmental changes. What makes this fact even creepier is that these organisms aren't just passive passengers. They interact with each other and with the human host, sometimes in ways that we don't fully understand. Interestingly, each person's skin microbiome is unique, much like a fingerprint. Factors such as genetics, diet, lifestyle, environment, and even age can influence the types and abundance of microorganisms living on your skin. For instance, individuals living in different climates may have distinct microbiomes, as certain bacteria thrive better in warmer or more humid environments. This personalized microbial signature means that even though we are all covered in microorganisms, the specific communities on each of us are different. In rare cases, an imbalance in the skin microbiome can lead to skin conditions such as acne, eczema, or infections. When the natural balance is disrupted, harmful bacteria may proliferate, causing problems. But in most cases, this ecosystem functions silently and effectively, keeping the skin healthy and resilient. While scientifically fascinating, the thought of hosting such a massive, invisible world on our skin can provoke an eerie feeling. The notion that our bodies are constantly inhabited by trillions of microorganisms, some of which crawl around and mate while we sleep, is enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. These life forms, ever present but unseen, challenge our perception of cleanliness and personal space, making us question just how much of us is really human. The Lazarus reflex, often referred to as the Lazarus sign, represents one of the most unsettling phenomena observed in the context of death, characterized by involuntary movements in a deceased body that can give the disconcerting appearance of life after death. This reflex is most commonly witnessed in individuals who have been declared brain dead, typically in clinical settings such as hospitals where advanced medical monitoring occurs. The phenomenon is named after the biblical figure Lazarus, who was miraculously brought back to life by Jesus, highlighting the connection between the reflex and the haunting notion of returning to life after death. The underlying mechanism of the Lazarus reflex is rooted in the residual electrical activity present in the spinal cord, which can persist even after the brain has ceased functioning entirely. Following death, although brain activity has stopped, certain nerve pathways may still retain a degree of electrical energy, leading to muscle contractions that result in observable movements in the body. These involuntary movements can vary widely in appearance, encompassing subtle twitches, jerking motions, or even more coordinated actions, such as the arms lifting and crossing over the chest in a posture reminiscent of prayer or submission. In particularly extreme and rare instances, there have been reports of bodies momentarily sitting up or exhibiting other lifelike gestures, creating a profound sense of unease for anyone who witnesses such an event. While medical professionals are trained to understand the physiological basis behind the Lazarus reflex, recognizing it as a natural response of the body's nervous system after death, for laypeople or grieving family members, the sight of a loved one moving after being declared dead can be an intensely traumatic experience, stirring feelings of confusion, fear, and even hope in a context where hope is considered lost. The movements associated with the Lazarus reflex are not a sign of revived consciousness or awareness, but rather reflect the complex interplay of biological processes that continue after the cessation of brain activity. Beyond the realm of the Lazarus reflex, other forms of post-mortem movement contribute to the eerie experience surrounding death and dying. One such phenomenon is rigor mortis, a well-documented process that occurs in the hours following death, wherein the muscles of the body undergo a series of changes leading to stiffness and rigidity. Rigor mortis begins approximately 2 to 6 hours after death and typically peaks around 12 to 24 hours post-mortem, gradually fading after about 48 to 72 hours as the body continues to decompose. During this period of muscle stiffening, the deceased may appear to take on unnatural poses or contorted positions, which can further amplify the unsettling experience for those observing the body. This stiffening occurs because, after death, the body's muscle cells begin to break down, leading to a depletion of adenosine triphosphate, ATP, the molecule responsible for muscle contraction and relaxation. The lack of ATP causes the muscles to become rigid and locked in place, creating a physical state that can easily be misinterpreted as movement, especially in light of other post-mortem phenomena that may occur simultaneously. Another significant factor contributing to the unsettling nature of death is the decomposition process, which includes the buildup of gases within the body as bacteria break down tissues. As the decomposition process advances, gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, and hydrogen sulfide accumulate within the body cavities, resulting in bloating and distension. This buildup of gases can create internal pressure, which may lead to the body shifting slightly or expelling air through the throat, producing sounds that resemble groaning or sighing. Such occurrences can be alarming for those present, as they add an auditory dimension to the already unsettling visual experience of witnessing a body in a state of decomposition. Throughout history, societies have grappled with the mysteries surrounding death, and before the advent of modern medical science, many cultures developed various myths, beliefs, and superstitions related to post-mortem movements. The sight of a body moving after death often fueled fears and superstitions about the undead, leading to legends of vampires, zombies, and other creatures believed to rise from the grave. In times when the medical understanding of death was limited, these movements were frequently interpreted as supernatural events, resulting in widespread beliefs that the dead could return to life, leading to various burial customs aimed at preventing such occurrences. Some cultures employed methods such as placing heavy stones on graves or using other means to restrain the corpse, reflecting a deep-seated fear of the dead returning to haunt the living. Despite the advancement of medical science and our growing understanding of the physiological processes occurring after death, the sight of a body moving, even in the context of the Lazarus reflex or rigor mortis, continues to evoke fear and discomfort in many people. The human psyche is conditioned to associate movement with life. Thus, any post-mortem movement disrupts this fundamental belief and creates a profound sense of unease. Even in the context of modern medicine, where the biological explanations for these movements are understood, the idea that a deceased individual can exhibit lifelike movements challenges our perceptions of death as a final and absolute state. It highlights the complexity of the human body and the numerous processes that occur during the transition from life to death, processes that are often unseen and poorly understood by the general public. In summary, the Lazarus reflex and the accompanying phenomena of post-mortem movements on the complex interplay between life and death, revealing that the journey of the body does not come to an abrupt halt at the moment of death. Instead, a range of biological processes continues to unfold, sometimes in ways that are startling and profoundly unsettling. The movements associated with these phenomena serve as a reminder of the intricate nature of the human body and the mysteries that still surround the processes of dying and decomposition, leaving a lingering sense of discomfort in our understanding of what it truly means to die. The intersection of science, folklore, and our innate fears about mortality ensures that the topic of post-mortem movements will remain a source of fascination, horror, and contemplation for generations to come, as we grapple with the realities of our existence and the inevitable nature of death.